The business community is sick and tired of Donald Trump and his ilk, and they are letting their voices be heard. Before the election, they formed an organization called Business Leaders for Vice President Kamala Harris, and they've been sharing their stories. And, you think about what Donald Trump and his surrogates are even saying and doing right before the election. It tells you everything. I'm going to share with you some of the stories from these business owners who are going public and letting other business owners know that you got to vote for Vice President Kamala Harris. But just take a look at what went down on Friday, where you had MAGA Mike Johnson take a trip in New York to one of the kind of swing congressional districts there in an area that has massive amounts of jobs as a result of the CHIPS Act, which was spearheaded by President Biden, which has created tens of thousands, potentially hundreds of thousands of jobs, not just in New York, but in swing states across the country. People are being put back to work who lost their jobs when Trump was in office. So MAGA Mike Johnson's asked this question by Luke Raydell. He's from Citrus News. Great questions by Luke. I mean, he's a reporter from the Syracuse University News Network. And take a listen to what MAGA Mike says here. He goes, he will get rid of the CHIPS Act on day one. And recall, he previously said that he was going to get rid of the Affordable Care Act on day one. He says he's talking with Donald Trump about this stuff to get rid of it. Here, play this clip.
The former president has said that he doesn't support the CHIPS and Science Act. You voted against it. If you have a Republican majority in Congress and Trump in the White House, will you guys try to repeal that law?
I expect that we probably will, but we haven't developed that part of the agenda yet. We got to get over the election first. And that's why.
That's terrible for business. I mean, who comes up with these strange, unhinged ideas to literally gut our economy? I want to show you this too, because business leaders are taking note. Who are some of the top generals who were, or mostly all of the top generals who surrounded Donald Trump? John Kelly, Mark Milley, James Mattis, H.R. McMaster, Mark Esper, Staniel McChrystal, Mike Mullen, James Stavridis. Take a look at these people. General of the Marines, General of the Army, General Marines, Lieutenant General Army, Lieutenant Colonel Army, General Army, Admiral Navy, Admiral Navy. Just take a screenshot of this, if you will. It's each of these people saying Donald Trump is a fascist. He is a horrible leader. He is dangerous. These are people, these are as serious people as you get. Take a screenshot of that right now, and I want you to send it to any undecided voter that you know. Say, this is Donald Trump's own generals in their own word. But let's take a look at what some of these entrepreneurs and business owners, small business owners, medium-sized business owners, large business owners, CEOs, let's see what they have to say. I'm going to share with you some of these incredible stories. Pass this message along as well. This is Jackie. She's an entrepreneur from Michigan, and she voted for Donald Trump twice before. Here's what she has to say. Play the clip.
I'm a two-time Trump voter, and I am voting for Harris. I am a business owner. A second Trump presidency would be harmful for the country and our economy because he doesn't get us. He does not understand the small business.
Now, here is David Trone. Here's what he has to say about Donald Trump's disastrous economic plans. And take a listen to the business that he runs. Play the clip.
My name is David Trone. My company's name is Total Wine and More. We operate all across the United States in 30 states. With 12,000 team members. I started my company in 1984 with a small store in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania on a shoestring. We built our check stands out of 2x4s and painted them yellow. We built our beer cooler. We didn't have any capital. We had nothing to start with. Vice President Harris's support for small businesses, her programs of loans up to $50,000. I mean, I can only think of what I could have done with that. And that's what these loans are about. It's investing in ideas because business is always an idea. One man, one woman had an idea that was better than the rest. And that's how you create jobs. And if I'd have had that capital then, it could have made my life so much better because we could have grown our business so much faster. I mean, what Donald Trump has proposed on tariffs, and my company, Total Wine and More, we buy wine from 40 countries all over the world that we sell in our stores. And when he puts a 20%, 30% tariff on those products, that means your tequila, your scotch, your Irish whiskey, your Tuscany wines, your New Zealand Sauvignon Blancs, all of those are going to cost 20 to 30% more. That is just bad dumb, and dumb's a generous word, dumb policy. Tariffs are nothing more than a sales tax. I talk to developers everywhere, and I always ask, did you ever work with or deal with Donald Trump? And every single developer, to a person, says the same thing. I would never deal with Donald Trump. He's a crook. He doesn't follow up on his word, and it's all about Donald Trump. And when we think about who's going to be best for business, who's going to drive business in our country, there's just simply one choice, and that is Vice President Kamala Harris.
Here's Chris. He's a farmer from Ohio. Here's what he has to say.
With his Project 2025, putting his loyalist in right into our county USDA offices, putting folks in there that don't know anything about agriculture, but they only know loyalty to Trump. That's not what we need. I'm a farmer. I voted for Trump in 2016. I'll be voting for Kamala Harris in 2024. The contrast between former President Trump and Kamala Harris couldn't be more stark. What we get with Trump is more chaos in the business environment, more uncertainty, more risk for me as a farmer. I retired from the United States Department of Agriculture after 30 years administering federal farm programs to farmers. I understand the rule of law. I understand policy and procedure, and I understand the importance of our institutions and how important they are to me and all of farmers across the United States. Trump is proposing to blow that completely up with his Project 2025, whether it's putting his loyalist in with a Schedule F appointment, his loyalist right into our county offices, right into our county USDA offices, putting folks in there that don't know anything about agriculture, but they only know loyalty to Trump. That's not what we need. What we need is the proposal by Kamala Harris for stability, for raising all boats, for opportunity zones, and for predictability in our business environment right here in American agriculture.
All right, are you ready for this fact? Traditional bed sheets can harbor more bacteria than a toilet seat. It can lead to acne, allergies, and stuffy noses. It's just gross. Miracle Made, however, offers a whole line of self-cleaning antibacterial bedding, such as sheets, pillowcases, and comforters that prevent up to 99.7% of bacteria growth and require up to 3 times less laundry. It's why I use Miracle Made on my bedding. Using silver-infused fabrics inspired by NASA, Miracle Made sheets are thermoregulating and designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long, no matter the weather, so you get a better sleep every single night. It's why I love Miracle Sheets. Miracle Sheets are luxuriously comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands and feel as nice, if not nicer, than sheets used by some 5-star hotels. So go to trymiracle.com/Meidas. Trymiracle.com/Meidas and try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save up to 40%. And if you use our promo code Meidas at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/Meidas and use the code Meidas to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/Meidas to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode. Here's one of the things, too. Donald Trump's trade war with China absolutely gutted and hurt farmers a lot. It helped huge conglomerates, but screwed smaller businesses and medium-sized businesses as well. It's not a shocker, although this poll may come as a shock to you. Donald Trump is only leading Vice President Kamala Harris in Ohio, where you just saw Chris, that farm owner from Ohio. Donald Trump's only up 3 in one of the best Ohio polls right here. Only up 3. That's within the margin of error. And here's a message to all the business owners out there. As a leader, if you did this to persons with disability, if you mocked persons with disability like that, or let me ask you this. If in your company you had an employee or just someone in your social club who treated disabled people like this, who mocked them like this, what would you do? Would you fire them? Would you get rid of them? Or would you put your arm around them and promote them to be your boss, right? Because that's kind of what's at stake here. Not kind of, that is what's at stake here. Let me share this with you right here. This is Ken Frazier. He's the chairman of Health Assurance Initiatives. Take a listen. Play this clip.
The way that I would characterize President Trump's leadership style is chaotic. I would say that based on my personal experience with him on the Manufacturing Council, as well as observing the rest of his administration, I think it's pretty fair to say that there was no level of stability or predictability. I think there was a huge amount of vindictiveness that came out of his decisions and the positions that he took, often with respect to American businesses. He would say, instead of having sort of a cogent, consistent industrial or economic policy, often it was informed by political concerns and also based on personal grudges.
May I introduce you to Gabe? He's a coffee shop owner from Arizona. Play the clip.
My name is Gabe. I am a small business owner here in Tempe, Arizona, and I am going to be voting for Kamala Harris this year. We are a coffee shop and coffee roasting company here in Arizona. Right now, we employ about 15 people. A Harris presidency would be better for the small business economy and just for the economy in general, because there's actually a plan in place to support us. There is a plan to help change the tax incentives for starting a new business, which are huge. A $5,000 tax cut right now, or tax credit, just doesn't come close to what's needed when you're talking about starting a brick and mortar business like what I have. So having that, and then increasing the access to capital for businesses like mine that are hitting that stage, we're ready to look for that second location. So having that access to capital is going to be key for us to continue growing. Trump's tariff plans, let's break it down by the numbers, right? I own a coffee shop. You would think that a coffee shop isn't going to be impacted by it, but I hate to break it to you. Almost everything that we serve is going to be touched by those tariffs. You look at everything from our cost of goods. Right now, we charge on average about $5 for a latte. What that breaks down to in cost of goods, though, we pay about a quarter for our cups, our lids, our straws per drink. Most of those manufacturers are located in China. So if you assume a 60% tariff added to that, that takes that 25 cents to 42 cents. All of this to say, once you take all of that math out, today we're left with around 11 cents per latte. When you add that 20 to 60% tariff, depending on what it's on, you're talking about taking us into a lost territory. So we're not going to be able to operate our business. And the only thing we're going to have at our disposal is to raise our prices, which is going to make it more expensive for everyday consumers to get their coffee, to get their muffins, to get whatever they may need for their normal day to day. And it's going to drastically impact our economy. People are going to cut back on things that they currently spend. My business will likely have to reduce my staff, if not even close. I think we need to all be perfectly clear. Donald Trump does not care about anyone. He does not care about small business owners. The only thing he cares about is himself.
Here's Josh. Josh is a small business owner. Play the clip.
Hi, I'm Josh. I am a small business owner from the great state of Idaho, and I am voting for Kamala Harris in November. I own a marketing agency here in Idaho, and one of the primary customers we have are entrepreneurs, startups, and innovators. And it really seems like Vice President Harris is standing up for those people. The fact that the government still thinks it only costs $5,000 to start a business in 2024 is ridiculous. Raising that to maximum deduction on small business taxes of $50,000 will help small businesses not only get off the ground, but pay for those things that companies like mine offer. You need a website, you need copywriting, you need advertising. Those are the things that are going to help propel businesses forward, and President Kamala Harris believes in that. Donald Trump's plans for tariffs, especially on consumer goods, will hurt the economy as a whole. And hurting the economy as a whole affects families, affects businesses, both small businesses and large businesses. Do you think for 1 second that big business is going to eat the rising costs of those tariffs so that the consumer will be able to pay the same amount for those goods? Hell no, they're not. Big business is going to pass those costs straight to the consumer. And the ones who will benefit from that the least are the MAGA Republicans who support Donald Trump. As a small business owner, I would not do business with Donald Trump because honestly, I would be afraid of getting burned, no matter what it would be, because there is no care in Donald Trump's mentality for anyone but himself.
Here's Scott from Michigan. Play the clip.
I'm Scott from Michigan, and I'm a small business owner, and I will be voting for Kamala Harris. I used to be an executive in the automotive industry. Now I have my own. I have actually 2 small businesses that I own. One of them is my favorite. I actually teach small kids, preschool age kids and early elementary kids soccer. Second business I have, I still do operational and supply chain consulting. I support Harris over Trump because when you take emotion out of the picture, Harris's economic policies actually are better than Trump's. Harris's proposals are more pro-business, primarily because she's focused on the middle class and the smaller companies. From Trump, I have not heard anything that addresses small businesses. The only thing I hear is how he's going to bring manufacturing back. As a manufacturing executive, that never happened in the first term. I don't expect it to happen in his second term. Trump's tariffs definitely are going to cause problems for businesses, but also for consumers. I have the advantage of working in manufacturing and the supply chain over the last 25 years of my career. And I can tell you that everything coming from China during its first administration, we were passing those costs on to our customers. That's exactly what's going to happen here. And I understand strategic tariffs, but he's not talking strategic tariffs. He's focused only on tariff everything coming from everywhere. What concerns me about a second Trump administration is what happened on January 6th. And from a business owner's perspective, if you have chaos in your political system, you will have chaos in the bottom line of your business. And to me, I will always vote for stability over chaos any day.
Here is John Delaney. He's the co-founder of Forbright Bank, a capital source, HCFP. Take a listen to what he has to say for the banking industry. Play the clip.
Hi, this is former member of Congress John Delaney. Prior to being in Congress, I started 2 businesses, took them public and ran them. So I know a lot about what it takes to build a business. I'm super excited for the Harris-Walz administration's approach to business. They have a strategy to ensure that the United States is competitive and that our businesses win here and around the world. They're also going to run our nation and our government in a way where we have not only domestic political stability, but that we continue to build up alliances around the world so that U.S. businesses can succeed. What scares me the most about Trump's economic policies is that he wants to isolate the United States from the rest of the world. Right? It is incredibly important that we both bring jobs back to the United States and reshore whole industries in the United States, which the Biden-Harris administration has been doing, and the Harris-Walz administration will continue. But we also have to engage globally. We need to make sure markets are open for our companies to sell goods and compete overseas. I want U.S. businesses not only thriving in the United States of America, but I want them winning overseas. And this is not only good for business, but it's also good for our national security. One of the reasons the United States is so central to ensuring that there's peace and stability in the world is both our extraordinary military, but also the diplomatic alliances we have, many of which are based on economic interests that we share with our allies. Trump wants to unravel that whole model and isolate the United States, which is terrible for business, but it's also terrible for our national security.
And here's Aaron Levy, who's the founder and CEO of the company Box, which you probably have heard of. Here's what he's got to say.
I support Kamala Harris for president because I think we need stable leadership in government that is pro-business, that is pro-science. Unequivocally, I think we have the best place to start a business, to grow a business. I think policies that lean more toward startup formation, being able to bring talent in from all around the world, being able to have stable government agencies that are forward-looking. And Kamala Harris, the cabinet that ostensibly you would expect her to build based on what we've seen, at least in the past few years, is one that I can fully get behind.
Finally, here is Michael from Texas. Here's what Michael from Texas has to say.
Donald Trump is basically just a rich kid from New York City who has never really had to work for anything in his life and has never really had to build anything in his life. My name is Michael Wood. I'm a small business owner in Fort Worth, Texas, and I'm planning on voting for Kamala Harris for president. After college, I joined the Marines. I did 4 years on active duty. Now I live in Fort Worth, Texas, with my wife and 4 daughters, and I own a commercial truck and trailer maintenance and repair company. As a business owner, I'm most concerned about a second term for Donald Trump because I'm worried about uncertainty. Donald Trump doesn't seem to understand that tariffs are inflationary. In my industry, tariffs are going to be incredibly inflationary, and that would just reverse all the progress that's been made over the last 3 or 4 years in fighting inflation. The difference between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, whenever it comes to small businesses, is, first of all, I think that Kamala Harris understands the economy and understands, for instance, that tariffs aren't going to be paid by Mexico or China or whatnot. Tariffs are going to be paid by American businesses, and tariffs are going to be paid by American consumers. Donald Trump is basically just a rich kid from New York City who has never really had to work for anything in his life and has never really had to build anything in his life.
You know, I show you those different business owners who are all part of this group, Business Leaders for Harris. I think it's important. You've heard, I've had Anthony Scaramucci on here, and he's written a piece in Fortune about the economic case for Vice President Kamala Harris. I've shared with you, you know, this other story where America's top CEOs are overwhelmingly favoring Vice President Kamala Harris, and there's a reason for it. It's our central thesis. Normalcy, stability, predictability, capital tweets, large capital rants. Oh my God, could you believe? Da, 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 da. You know, I mean, could you, like, with Donald Trump just screaming and yelling in all caps letters every day and then whining. For me, it's the there's so much, but it's also just the freaking whining. It's like, stop whining like a baby, dude. You're a billionaire. You were born with all this money. You had the most powerful position in the world. Stop acting like a freaking baby. I mean, who behaves like that? It's gross. Well, anyway, you heard from those business leaders who are going public right now. I think it's important for you to see that. Help make your decision. Send this to business owners you know as well. Did you vote? Do it. Make sure you vote. Tell other people you know to vote as well. Please. It's so important. Thanks for watching.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.